Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Supergirl Season 6 review series, and today I am going to be talking about Episode 2, A Few Good Women, which I have just finished watching, and this episode pretty much picked up where we left off at the end of the season premiere, where we saw not only Lex Luthor gain superpowers but he also lost them, but in the process him losing his powers resulted in Kara being sent to the Phantom Zone, and the last shot we saw was Kara lying in the Phantom Zone unconscious with an army of phantoms surrounding her. So I thought that was a really good way to end the season premiere and a cool way to set up the second episode for season 6. And for most of this episode we pretty much saw Alex, J'onn J'onzz, the Dreamer and Brainiac 5 trying their utmost best to try and get Kara out of the Phantom Zone. So we only saw Supergirl for roughly maybe 3 or 4 scenes. She was mostly absent in this episode, but I thought this was a very good one and in my opinion a very strong second episode for season 6. And we were also treated to a surprise appearance from Kara's Kryptonian father, Zor-El. Now, ever since Supergirl started, there has been very little word or mention about Kara's Kryptonian father. I mean, we've mostly seen her Kryptonian mother, but at the same time we've never really seen much of the father. But you know, I thought it was a nice twist that Kara's Kryptonian father was also trapped in the Phantom Zone, but I still believe that there could be a twist to this. Maybe Kara's Kryptonian father is secretly a phantom taking on the shape of Zor-El, but time will tell really. I am a little bit bummed out that we didn't get to see Tom Welling as Zor-El, because you know Erica Durance played Zara in the earlier seasons, but you know I thought Jason Beer did a good job as Zor-El in my opinion, but I personally would have loved to have seen Tom Welling play Zor-El, because in a way it could have been like, you know, Smallville's Lois and Clark as Kryptonian parents. You know, that would have been a nice, interesting way to bring things full circle, especially as Tom Welling has already made a brief cameo in the Arrowverse. So for the rest of this episode we pretty much saw Lex Luthor on trial, which I'll get into momentarily, and this was one of Jon Cryer's best performances on the show in my opinion. He was on top form and in full-on classic Lex Luthor villainy mode, and I loved this episode. I thought this episode was really, really good, and you know the way his hearing just completely collapsed was just hilarious, and the verdict that the jury came out for Lex Luthor was quite an interesting twist and not something I really expected. But we're going to talk about that and more, so sit back, relax, let's get right into it. Let's talk about episode 2, A Few Good Women. So we start off this episode at the Luthor Foundation blood bank, where we see a security guard encounters what appears to be a vampire who demands his keys. We see Brainiac 5 and the rest of Kara's friends show up to stop him, but he transforms into a bat. J'onn J'onzz manages to capture him, and they learn that this guy is actually from an alien called Transylvane. It's quite an interesting name. An alien that's actually from Transylvane, but his name is Salas, and this is the person that they think they can help break into the Phantom Zone to rescue Kara. Meanwhile, in the Phantom Zone, we finally see Supergirl is awake. Silias explains that his partner was sentenced to the prison in the Phantom Zone and he managed to break in. He is known as the only person who has ever attempted to do so and been successful. Silias tells him that the creatures there are the real threats. They're making people trapped in there go insane. It takes a little convincing, but he agrees to help. Brainiac 5 tells Nia that she will need to train in order to locate Supergirl in the Phantom Zone. When Celia starts working on things, Alex gets overly excited and thinks they'll have Supergirl back that day. Yeah, I don't know about that really. Silias says that it needs more time than that. Kelly tries to work things out, and Jean is also struggling with Kara's absence. And this is a side of J'onn J'onzz we rarely got to see. I mean, he does care about Supergirl, but to hear him say that he looks at Kara as a daughter, I thought that was a nice, touching moment to their relationship, because they've been through a lot ever since Supergirl started, and to see how their relationship has gone from being partners to like a father/daughter kind of relationship was really touching. And David Harewood, he doesn't get enough love. He's an amazing actor, and he's done such an excellent job as J'onn J'onzz, and this is one of his best performances on an emotional point of view, in my opinion. So at Catco, we see Andrea wants to bury Lex with their coverage of his upcoming trial. She assigns William and Nia to cover the courthouse and tasks them to do whatever it takes to get in. So we see in jail, Lillian and Otis meet with Lex Luthor, and Lex refuses to take a plea deal. Lex says he always has a plan. That is very true. At court, Lex's trial begins with Lex representing himself, because let's face it, who's really going to represent Lex Luthor? Otis? Please. Lex Luthor assures that Eve Tessmacher won't be able to prove anything because, after all, she was blinded by love. Eve testifies against Lex Luthor, but he tries to discredit her by manipulating things to make it look like she's just a jilted lover hell-bent on revenge. Smooth, Lex Luthor. Very smooth. In the Phantom Zone, someone finds Kara and she wakes up in what appears to be a cave. The man who finds her is a man from the House of El, who turns out to be none other than Zor-El, Kara's Kryptonian father. So this marks the first official appearance that we have seen Zor-El in the Arrowverse. He's stunned to find that Argo not only survived, but his wife and daughter did as well. It turns out he sent himself to the Phantom Zone in a last-ditch attempt to save his life. He's horrified to learn that Kara has been trapped there before. Kara is determined to escape, but her father insists that she needs to escape her fate and not even try before she goes mad. Kara is determined to find a way out of the Phantom Zone for both herself and her father. She heads out back, but is soon overwhelmed, and her father has to come to save her yet again. Zor-El has completely given up, and Kara doubles down on escaping, and he agrees to help her. So we see Andrea and Lena are talking. Andrea tries to get Lena to give her an interview about her brother Lex. Catco is in bad shape. She wants Lena to go on the record to try and save the company. Lena, in a spat of fury, is absolutely disgusted and walks out. It's kind of funny with Lena Luthor, because, at the beginning, she was going down her own path, looked like she was going to become a villain, and now all of a sudden she doesn't want to help. So, she's a very complex character. Lena, one minute she's kind of a villain, and the next she wants to see Lex get buried, but then when it comes down to it, she doesn't want to. So she's a very interesting and complex character. Lillian pays Lena a visit and offers to tell her she'll sell her shares of the company to keep Luthor Corp out of Lex's hands. She also doesn't want Lena to testify against her brother for the good of the business. Typical Luthor. Reminding her that she will have to take credit for what she did while working with Lex. Lena still plans to go forward anyway. We then see Lena show up at the courthouse to testify, talking about the non-Nusir. The questioning turns into Luthor essentially playing Lex and getting him to reveal his true colours on live TV and admit his own guilt in front of a jury and on television. Nice. He also reveals himself to be a misogynist. Nia struggles with her powers, not understanding them. Brainy gives her a pep talk as she trains to ready herself to find Kara. Silias gets his device going and they access the Phantom Zone, and Brainiac 5 realises that as the result of the crisis event, all of the Phantom Zone has been damaged and all of the Earths have been fused into the Phantom Zone, so they now operate as multiple portals instead of one single zone. It's now many dimensions and could take years to search them all to find Kara. As the team debates on how to find her, we see the Phantoms escape into the reality, knocking the portal offline in the process. So we see J'onn and Dreamer join powers, and after Silias gets the portal back online, everyone manages to send the phantoms back away. We see Otis disguise himself as a bailiff with a plan to take out the jury and the judge, but the jury finds him not guilty. Now, this was an interesting twist because I thought, in spite of all of the bad things Lex Luthor has done, and even actually admitting it, I would have thought they would still find him guilty, but they found him not guilty. So I thought that was an interesting twist, even in spite of Lena's testimony. It's not a twist I was really expecting. William becomes disillusioned and Nia gives him a pep talk and encourages him to not give up. Lex calls for the district attorney to press charges against Lena. Typical. At home, Alex is confronted with the possibility that Kara may never come back. At Lena's home, Andrea shows up to encourage Lena to use Lex's strategies against him and keep going, even if it means going outside the legal system. And then at the very end of this episode, at Salius's house, it becomes evident that one of the phantoms managed to remain behind, and we see that he took control of Salius's body and manages to escape. In the zone, phantoms are now able to open a portal. Kara and Zor-El observe this and work together to try and find a means to escape. And that pretty much ends episode 2 and my review. Overall, I thought this was a really fun episode. John Cryer was on top form as Lex Luthor and probably one of his best performances on the show so far. I love the way the trial just completely started out very serious and it just completely collapsed with Lex Luthor taking charge of everything as usual. So I thought that was a really good scene. Having Zor-El in the Phantom Zone with Kara was very touching, but I still think that Zor-El is not really the real Zor-El. I still believe there could be a twist to this yet, because he seemed quite cold and just given up with everything, because I always believed that members of the House of El never gave up. So we shall see really, but it was nice to see a father and daughter reunited, because we've never really seen that on the show. But overall, this was a really good episode, and as I said, Kara was mostly absent apart from 3 or 4 scenes, but it's interesting to see how things are going to go forward in the next episode. So there you have it everyone, I'm going to wrap this up now. What did you think of episode 2? Did you enjoy it? What were your thoughts on the trial of Lex Luthor? Were you surprised at the twist that he was found not guilty? And also, what about Kara being reunited with her Kryptonian father Zor-El? Do you believe it's the real Zor-El, or do you think he could secretly be a phantom just trying to manipulate Kara? Do you think they could actually get Kara out of the Phantom Zone, or do you think she could be trapped in there forever? And also, what do you think Lex Luthor's plans are going to be next now that he's been found not guilty? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Supergirl Season 6 review series, where I'll be talking about episode 3, which I am very much looking forward to talking about. So until next time, take care everybody, and stay safe, and once again, thanks for listening.